All right. So what I was saying is, uh, it's really important. Like we're going to go through. The goal here of this class is to take an object, and I don't know if it's going to be this doubtful, okay, or we're going to use something like the stand of the heart here. Because what I want to do is I want to teach you the workflow of how you take an object and position it properly. Go through click the right things on the software to scan it, get a good scan, and then be able to export it out as either a mesh or as an editable CAD file, okay, which is maybe what you're interested in. But here's the really important thing. There are two ways that you can go about modeling something. You can CAD it out, like just simply draw, get a CAD program and just depending on what your skill level is, create the object. Number two, you can, if something is just, it's quite organic, it's like a weird shape like the heart back here, okay? Unless you have like Superman CAD skills or modeling skills, that can be hard. And so sometimes the best thing to do is just to scan it and then you have that workable model, okay? Then there's also, in between, there's the hybrid, okay? So we've done we've done a ton of different hybrid things. I'm going to give you just as an example. I might pull up some things here just to show you. See if I can do it. Where else do we have? There's a bunch of things. I'm gonna just pull up. But this is one of the first things that we did. One of the students here took this class. This was last year, and he is a competition long range rifle guy. Like they shoot like I don't know, 3 million miles or something, right? And with his rifle, and his friend had a grip. It was a custom grip. It was made out of wood, and he liked it, and a lot of other people liked it. There were a couple of problems with it. Number one, it did not fit his gun. The receiver did not fit into it. Okay, it was a different gun. And the other thing is, it was too big for his hand. Okay, so he said, can we scan this in and like modify it or anything? So it was one of the first things that we did here is we scanned his grip. And this is not the one that was the final product, but it was like one of those prototypes we were trying out. And then we modeled out, so it was scanned, right? And then we modeled out the actual receiver, the part that goes into the grip, okay? And then we took the grip in in Fusion, and then we took the receiver and we placed it exactly where we wanted it, and we cut out with what we used the model receiver to cut out the shape out of the grip. Then he 3D printed it, and he brought his receiver in, and it fit like a glove. Okay, that's a cut. That's where you get. That's a hybrid where we have something that we scanned that's like some organic shape, and then we took something that was CAD'd out and used it to make it a custom fit. So that is an example. I'm trying to think of some other thing. Oh, this leaf here. I'm just giving you some ideas. This is a leaf. This leaf here was just plucked out from the front there. We scanned it, okay, real close, and then if somebody I saw here, okay. I know we speak printed it. Sure.
My tech is going to send me a picture of the float when he gets
back. Okay, so we took the leaf, and then in Fusion we created a mold with that leaf. It's shrunk down. I don't know where somebody must have liked it and took it, but we 3D printed it, and we resin printed a mold. Okay, and then from there we were able to, just from that mold of the leaf, okay, we're able to cast metal in something like that, or you can cast anything into it. So there's another example like where you can scan something, but turn it into something else. Okay. I teach a class on that. That's one of the classes I teach on how to make molds.
So you actually melted metal into that?
Yeah, it's a class that I teach. You might want to watch for. It's very cool.
Sure.
Where we take we resin. You can create a mold any shape, whether it's a scanned object or something that you CAD. We create a mold, and then we cast metal. We 3D print it. We 3D print the mold in ABS plastic or in resin, and then we cast metal in it. It's not the thing. Okay.
That's awesome.
So, ton of different things that you can do. And it's really important that if that's a project that you want to, your endeavor to get into, whatever it is, like create, CAD this out or duplicate a part, you got to get it clear in your mind which route you're going to take, or if it's going to be a hybrid, okay? Because if you came in here and you said to me, I want to create a holder for this roll of tape, and I want to scan it, and then make a holder out of, something like some reverse thing or cut it out. I would say that's a bad idea to scan this and then do that, because this is such a simple object. With basic CAD skills, you can CAD this out in 2 seconds flat, and you have a holder, okay? But where you have something that's organic, or like a heart or this, there you go. There's an example of something that you do have to CAD, or you have to scan out and then do it this way. So one of the things I always ask, like when I do this class, is I want to get people to bring in an interesting object and see if there's something, so we can discuss it and learn from that. The heart definitely is something that that would be scanned. I'm looking at this, okay? For all intents and purposes, it looks like an organic object, right? But looking at this, I'm looking at this thing, and I would probably say this would probably take about 15 minutes to CAD it out, like with my skill level, okay? If you're a beginner, you've never done it before, I'm very fast with CAD. I can model things out in a flash, okay? And it's a real. That's one of my friends. You're just looking? Okay. You're welcome to join. We're doing some
fireside chat.
Yeah, we're just. Hi, my name's Key. I'm a Dallas Makerspace member.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, wrong number.
Yeah. But something like that is quite easy to CAD out in a flash. I would not recommend that you scan something like that. You're going to get a much better result CADing it out. Okay. And then if in the end what you want to do, it looks like this was a mold of some sort, came out of a mold.
Yeah.
Not hard to do at all. Okay, so we're not going to use this because this is really more appropriate for a CAD. Even though it looks all smooth and round, it's a pretty primitive product, and you can easily CAD that out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this heart. Did you get the picture? You're going to let me know when you get the picture because I'm curious.
About 10 minutes.
Okay, not a problem.
I'm gonna go look at some people doing some jewelry stuff.
Okay,
I just walk around.
you just get in here.
Yeah, I had meetings all day. So
Okay, that's cool. All right,
Good meetings.
awesome. Good, I'm excited. Class is canceled.
I've been turned a mad scientist loose on some things. I gotta get sad about cutting boards.
Yeah.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, there's going to be a cutting board war.
Pretty soon, we'll make a cutting board that can play sound.
Oh, awesome. Like a violin. Okay. He has a cutting board company, and we're collaborating on different designs. And I don't know, you could see some of these things here. Most cutting boards are kind of flat and boring. Let me see if I can show you.
Material.
Huh?
What kind of material would it be?
Anything you want.
Bamboo, wood, plastic,
Anything you want.
glass. That's not a good.
So these are my designs. Trying to find one of my one of my first ones was this one here. Okay, that's a render. it's designed in Fusion 360 and then rendered out. But let me see if I can find it. So what's really fun is when you can design something and then make it real. Okay, that's real.
Wow.
That's rendered, right? So where's a good one here? I suppose that one's okay. You know, it's just a render, all done in Fusion, and then we took the file. That's another class I teach where we can design something in Fusion 360 and then cam it out or do it on the Haas, okay? And then another one I designed, where is it? Is this one here. So that was designed. I have a render somewhere, but then cut that one out. So this is like we're taking things to a whole like a different level in cutting boards. I never thought I'd ever do that, but he's like tapping into what I can do, and we're gonna share in the profits. Okay, so it's good for everybody. He's gonna be making more money, and I'll be making a little bit extra play money. So anyway, back to this. There's a zillion things that you can do, but let's get to actually scanning. There are 3 golden rules that you have to follow in scanning. The scanner is not point and click. It's not like a phone that you have, okay? Like we're so used to like flipping on a phone and taking a picture. It auto focuses, auto exposure. The scanner's not like that. It's kind of old school. You have to actually think about some things, and then we're going to scan the heart here. And even though it's a complex organic object, it's not one of the hardest things that you could scan. There are other things that are much harder to scan because of their shape and to get everything lined up. We'll talk about that, like things that have transparency or metallic or have a mirror finish to it. But there are 3 golden rules. You follow these 3 golden rules, you're like right on track, because a lot of people who used to use the scanner before I taught the class, I mean, they were just not getting any good results because they were not respecting that. The first golden rule is you have to place the object at the correct distance from the scanner. Somebody is trying to reach me. It may happen, I'll just warn you, it may happen that I have to run like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to the train station over here, because my boys are coming from school and they want to come here. So they're coming from school. It's right Carrollton Station. 10 minutes and then I'll be back. Okay, if that happens, we'll cover everything. Don't worry. So it's up to you. What do you want to do? I'll give you the link at the end. I record all of my classes. Okay, and then I give you a link, and then you can watch it. If you guys come back in here and you want to scan something, pull up the video and you can follow along and get those key points. Okay? All right. Because I would rather you just like listen, okay, and then take notes, because you might miss something. All right, and you'll get the recording of it. Then the second golden rule is you got to use a little bit of intelligence on how you're going to present the object to the scanner. So, for example, I'm going to just use it. We have this, like, if we were going to scan this thing here, okay, say this was the original, and you know, I've seen people just come in here and they just plop it down and then they turn the scanner on and they think it's going to scan the whole thing, okay? But really, if you look at an object, most of this is interesting, but the part that's not so interesting is that bottom. It's basically flat, okay? And you can clean that up in the software and it's no big deal. But even this object here, when I have it like that, you notice it falls. So we have to use a little bit of intelligence when we're mounting. We can use a mounting bracket. We can use a hot glue gun just to tack it on here to keep it upright. Sometimes you'll have an object that, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I don't know. Say you're trying to scan this brush here. Well, you look at this brush. Quite frankly, every single part of it is important, right? So this might be something that you have to hang and fix so that it can get all the way around and scan it. Okay, that's the second golden rule. The third golden rule is if you have something that has transparency or it has a mirror finish or it's really shiny, you have to deal with that. There are a couple of ways you can deal with it with any kind of transparency. Number one, but probably your go-to is getting some talcum powder, brushing it on, and just getting rid of that sheen. Just like if, in a movie, when they do movies, they have to get rid of the shine on a person's face. The second thing that you can do is you can use this dulling spray. If something's shiny, this works pretty good. Doesn't work so great on like a mirror finish, but it works great on things that have like a bit of a sheen or a shine. It'll give you a much evener, much more even scan. We've had this for about over a year. You really don't need to use very much. It's and it's enough. This stuff is removable dull finish for photography, videography, reduces shine, semi-drying finish, wipes off easily, leaves no marks. So unless, look, if you have a camera or some valuable piece of electronic equipment, you're not going to want to spray that, okay, on this. We'll talk about other ways that you can deal with that. If you have, like a water bottle.
There's a diagram of the flow sensor.
Is that a cross section or is that it?
It would sit inside of this rectangle, and then there's like an O-ring here and a tube down there.
Oh, it's in a rectangle.
Yeah, with the sensor.
I see.
Yeah.
This is the whole thing.
This is the whole thing, but it sits inside of there. That's just the front part of it, but yeah. And this is a float with a magnet inside of it.
I
That
see.
up and down.
And so what are you trying to make?
Well, I want to make this whole thing here.
Okay. Even with all the magnets
It's
and
only
everything?
like this big.
Okay.
Yeah, even with all the.
All the components. But
Yes.
you need to, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
I definitely need to print this top portion and then the other portions individually.
So that's kind of that little weird object, that thing. If you just want to look at that, that's what it is. Okay. So here, this is a technical drawing, right?
Yes, yes.
And I'm sure it has dimensions.
Um,
It should have come with dimensions.
it's a parts manual. So
Arts manual.
Yeah.
Do you have an original?
Yeah.
You have an original. Okay. So then, in that case, something that has a technical drawing and has fixed dimensions,
Mhm.
it's better to CAD it out. Okay. And that's, with some basic, CAD, whatever it is that you're looking, that's not such a difficult thing to do in CAD. Okay. So that's why I bring that up, because there are a lot of guys who come in here and are like, hey, I have this, this ball, and I really want to scan it, and I want to make an exact duplicate of that ball.
Yeah.
Well, a ball is not a good thing to scan. It's better to CAD it out. Okay? It's faster, more accurate. Anyway, so like a water bottle or glasses that have transparency, this uses lasers to measure contours and dimensions. Okay? That light is going to go right through the ball with transparency. So you have to deal with transparency. And usually the powder doesn't do it, or that dulling spray. The two, or it's like, say something has a mirror finish, like chrome, it's been chromed, and you want to, and I'll give you an example in a minute. You have to really just cover that transparency or that mirror finish completely. Two options. You can use athlete's foot powder spray, the powder spray, because it has talc in it, and you can coat it with it, okay? And then when you're done, you can wipe it off. The other one is you use like a primer of some sort. Like if it's not important that you clean it off after and you don't care, you just put a primer or Kills on it, something white, and coat, just a nice light coat to cover it, and that will scan beautifully. So an example was, there was a member who came up to me one day, and he had a car, right? In his car, he had the door handle on the inside, he didn't have one on his side, but on the right side he had one, okay? And he was doing the old vice grip thing, trying to get in and out of his car, right? Which is not good if you're in a police chase, right? You need a door handle. So he said, hey, is there some way we can make a door handle scan the one on the right and make it fit on the left? I said, well, that's interesting, because the one on the right is a mirror image of the one on the left. And it was chrome. It was chrome. So we tried a couple of different things. I didn't really want to put anything on it. I'm just going to check and see what these are my boys. We're going to be there at 6:40. Okay. So maybe that's what they say they're going to be. We'll get through a lot of stuff anyway. But then I'll be back. So we took it off, and we tried this dull spray and the talc, and it didn't really do a good job. And it ended up, we just sprayed some Kills on it, made it all white, and we scanned it. It came out beautifully, and then we 3D printed it. Okay, and the beauty of it is, after we We brought it to KISS Slicer, 3D printed it, but in the KISS Slicer, have you guys done any 3D printing at all ever? None? Okay. Okay. So in the software, you can do a mirror flip. It'll 3D print the mirror model of the actual thing that you scan. And when you scan something here and you directly go to 3D print it, it's 1-to-1. Okay, it's not scaled up or down, it's 1-to-1. So we didn't even really have to do much. We just scanned it, took the mesh, flipped it, mirror flipped it, 3D printed it in like 45 minutes. It was solid plastic. It didn't take very long at all. Boom, he took it out, he just cleaned out those pilot holes that were in there. So he popped it in, screwed it in, he had a door handle. He loved that one so much he wanted the same one for the other side because they matched. One was white and one was like the ABS plastic, so we made two. But that was a really cool application of scan here. Here you have this like facility where you can do some awesome cool stuff. Okay, so that's the thing is about. That's the part.
Flip to the scroll to the.
I see.
The other one. Yeah, there's 3 pictures.
I see.
Yeah,
I see.
that's it. $600.
And what are you hoping to do with this?
Just remake it for like $50.
Like 3D print it or what?
Maybe.
Or an injection mold?
Do we have that capability here?
No, you could probably make one.
We just learn the best way to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's that.
Yeah, it's like a soft plastic. It's a little softer. It's a little softer
Okay.
than but
Okay.
anyway.
So what we're going to do, I'm going to bring up the software now, okay? And just what I'm going to do on here is going to be up on there, okay? And then when we get up, what we're going to do is we're going to go through the steps of how to scan. And you're going to do 3 steps, you're going to do 3 steps, we're going to go through it. So pay attention to what the guy before you is doing and what the guy after you is doing, because we're going to chain it together. And we're going to go from scanning to exporting and bringing it into another program like Fusion 360. And then manipulating it and doing different things with it. Okay, super cool. So, oh, darn it, the scanner is not. See, there you go. You got to make sure that it's plugged into power, and then there's the magic USB port plug, and you got to make sure that is plugged in. And there we go. All right, welcome. Okay. It's firing up. Connecting to your scanner. Right on. So, I'm going to go through some preliminary things. So this is kind of your workspace. Number 1, when this fires up, you're going to hear it's kind of warming up, and there's a little blue light on top that tells you that that it's on. See? Okay. And first thing you're going to do is have you ever used a software program brand new and you're like doing a project on it and you save it and then the next day you go to look for that file, you don't know where the hell it is, right? And it's like buried in the System32 driver folder, right? It's like, why the hell did they save it there? They're like, so this will kind of do that. So I always say, go to preferences here. And yeah, see, that's what it did. It went my documents, my 3D. So that's not intuitive to me. So what I always do is I just go to, I always save my things to the desktop. Okay, that's just a good place. There's not much here to change. I'm just going to look at all the defaults. Usually the defaults save through sessions. So nothing here. I wouldn't change anything. All right, and hit OK. The next thing you want to do is go to the scan here and settings, and this dialog box talks about capture mode. Texture capture. Texture capture. The word texture in human terms is different than the word texture in 3D modeling. Okay, texture for us humans is something if it's smooth or rough. In the 3D world modeling, texture is if it has the visual image draped over the mesh or the model. Okay, so it'll be a model, it'll be the mesh, we'll see it in a sec, but this will actually take a photo and drape it over it so that when you have your model, and you rotate it around, it looks like the actual thing. Why would you use that? Well, you know, you might say you want to sell something on Etsy or whatever, okay, or on a website, okay, and you scan it and you want people to be able to look at it and rotate it around. There's an example. The other one, when you work in a museum or you're an archaeologist, you're in the Guatemalan jungle and you got this thing on your back and you discover like some amazing new Mayan hieroglyphic. You want to scan it, send it back up to your professor so you can get more money, right? One of those things. They can see, they can actually, not just the scan, but actually what it looks like. For all intents and purposes, like what you guys are talking about, you probably, unless you have a jewelry business on Etsy or something, or a cutting board business on Etsy, you're not going to need anything like that. So I always say turn it off. We're not going to mess with it today because when you capture the visual image, it takes longer to scan, sometimes twice, 3 times as long. And since there's no real, most people have no practical reason to do it, you're going to keep it turned off. And this is like a double negative, kind of, you turn it on, okay? You turn it on to turn it off. You click it on to turn it off. You click it off to turn it on. All right, it's annoying. It's like one of those things. I don't know why they did that, but you've got different texture. You got black and white. You got plain color, and you've got this multi-spectral high color accuracy. I've never really messed with it. I've never had any use for it, so I'm going to turn it, click it on to turn it off. Okay, and then that's kind of your defaults. We're going to go just with that. All right. Next, when you're done there, you're going to start to scan. You're going to hit that scan button, and this is where we start to set up. We put our settings in. And you can see the lasers like warming up and it's testing itself, you know, it's doing one of those self-tests. You can see the lasers pulling up. But here in this dialog boxes, we have a few things that we can control and change. Remember what the first golden rule is?
It was watch your distance.
Right.
Distance.
That's number 1. But, you know, the software developers here really didn't think about it. They put range way at the bottom here. Okay, but that's the first thing you want to look at down here. And there's 3. There's macro, and it will give you the distance, 7.5 to 11.5 inches. It's a 4-inch window. Now notice the furthest end of macro is at 11.5. The next range is from 22 to 28. So from 11.5 to 22, it can't see anything. You have to respect that distance. Okay, and then on extended, it's just it goes from 22 to 40. Now, you don't have to memorize those numbers. They're right there. And you don't even have to have a tape measure because I did a handy dandy. I put little marks. Do you see this little cord here that attaches to the turntable? It plugs into the base of the scanner to control the turntable. And I've got marks on there. 7.5 to 11.5. There's the sweet spot. So this is we made a little built-in tape measure. Okay? There's, you know, the medium range. So from 22 to an 11.5, if you put something there, the scanner won't see it. That's why it's golden rule number 1. Okay, so we're going to do the heart today, and we're going to use the Y from 22 to 28. So like I say, there are a lot of different ways you can mount things. I mean, there's this. Be creative. There is not one way to mount something. I mean, I have scanned. This was a project where somebody they bought this model online, 3D printed it, and they wanted it scanned, enlarged. Okay, they wanted it enlarged. What they wanted to do, they're into RC cars, but quarter scale. They're big, 50 inches. Okay, 11 inches high. He wanted that scan, he wanted it upscaled, then he wanted to create a vacuum form plug. Because he wanted to put it on a vacuum former, put that I don't know, that plastic, suck it down. Have you seen those RC cars where they suck and then they paint the inside and then they put it on a chassis, right? So he wanted that. So to create a vacuum form plug, we have to enlarge it, then slice it, okay, because we have to slice it because this thing's 11 inches high. And we're going to cut it out of MDF, each of those slices, on the multicam. It's going to require 2 sheets of MDF, okay, 4x8. And that's a real-world example of somebody who wants to start a business and make these shells for 1/4-inch scale models, and he wanted to do it out of that. But when to mount it, for me to, golden rule number 2 is how do I get everything, right? Well, I could plop it down like this, or but what I did ultimately is I just hot glued. Okay, if you can find the hot glue gun in here, it's somewhere. Somebody probably took it, or they have it in Creative Arts, and I just hot glued it right onto the end of that little doohickey right there. And so as this turned, I got a nice view of that. Okay, so that's the mounting part, where sometimes you just have to be creative and not really use what not what you think is obvious. So here, if you look, there's the chord. We're going to do 22 to 28. The sweet spot of success is right here, okay? And what you do is you take the center part of the scanner, and you line it up to there. You see that? Boom. Next, I'm going to put this guy on top. And what's really important, try to look for the center axis of rotation of an object. I like this heart as a teaching model because it is weirdly shaped, okay? And it can play tricks. But I'm going to put the pedestal like right there. So we look here. That window is showing us what the scanner actually sees. And we can see that it's not going to capture the heart at all. A couple of ways you can do it. I mean, there's a block of wood here. It's as primitive as this, that I just take something and I put it underneath, and boom. The other option is on the bottom, there is a little screw thing for a tripod, okay? So you can grab, there's a tripod over there, you can make sure it's on tight and it's stable so it doesn't fall, and you can bring it up and down. What's key is that when you scan an object, especially if you're on here, it's not a big deal. But on a tripod, you know how it tilts like this? You don't want it tilting down or tilting up, especially if you're using the turntable. Okay? It is assuming when you're using the turntable that everything is perpendicular. If you have a tilt on it, when you set it to automatic to scan, and then when it goes to stitch it together in the end, it won't do a good job. It's assuming that everything is perpendicular. So when you're moving the scanner, just move it up and down. Don't tilt it, okay, if you want to capture something. So I'm going to put it on here. And anytime you move, here's a sub-golden rule. Anytime you move the scanner or your object or anything, always double check that it's in the right spot. Okay? Now, another thing, you notice here on the screen, there's a little ruler. Each one of these has a different ruler, but for wide, it goes from 0 to 10. So the center point is 5. So use a little bit of intelligence when you're lining something up. Make sure that the center axis of rotation is like right on the 5 there. You see what I mean? Because when it scans, you're going to get a better result. That's the first thing. That was range. That was golden rule number 1, and actually golden rule number 2, because I placed it where it's supposed to be, intelligently. Then we go up to the top here. There are 3 options on how to scan something. There's single, bracket, and 360. Single, what it does is it does a single scan, period. Bracket will do 3 scans. Anybody do old school photography? Darkroom photography? Okay. I've done it before. And in bracket photography, on some cameras like an SLRs, it'll take a underexposed, a normal exposed, and an overexposed, and combine the 3. And what it does is it gives you one of these HDR pictures, high dynamic range photos. Now all of the cameras have them built in, okay? And it allows things that are too dark and too bright to be seen together properly, okay? But in this case, it doesn't. The bracket is not about exposure; it's about angle. Because this turntable is going to turn at different angles, and what it's going to do on bracket, it'll take a scan here, it'll take a scan at a predetermined angle this way, and another one on both facing sides, combine them together, and give you a nice scan or that one edge. It'll look really good. Okay. On 360 is obvious. This turntable is going to turn around 360 degrees and stop at certain intervals, okay, or divisions. So you see this divisions right here? You can set, well, when we get to it, you're going to see, I can divide that 360 into 4 stops. It'll go scan, 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 like 4. I can set it all the way up to 16. So if I set it to 4, how many degrees will it go before it takes a scan? Right. It'll take 4 scans, each at 90 degrees. If I have this set at 8, it'll do 45. If I set it to 16, 22.5. Okay? The difference between 360 and bracket concerning this divisions, because bracket and 360, or the full turn, are that division of where it stops is controlled by this slider here. So follow me. As you know, if I'm working on 360, it's going to do, there are 4 divisions. So it can go scan, 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 4, right? If I go to 8, it's going to go scan, 45 degrees, scan, 45 degrees, scan, all the way around. What bracket does, it uses the same division here. So 8 would be 45 degrees, but it only does 3 scans. It'll do the front and the 2 adjacents. Okay? It won't do the ones all the way around. So it doesn't matter if I have this at 4, 8, or 16. It only does 3. So if I have bracket, remember bracket is like always 3 scans. If I have it at 16, it'll do a scan like this. It'll do one at 22.5 degrees. Then it'll go that way, do 22.5 degrees, and be done. It'll take those 3. So the bracket always does the front and the 2 adjacents, based on the division that you have here. Okay?
What's an example? What do you want to do?
Bracket. Let's say you just want to have an object and you just want to get, just the face, like the leaf. Leaf. I just want to really get a good, face scan. Another example would be if you're doing an edge of something, like a book, a page, or something thin. So, and you want to capture the actual dimension or the relationship between the front and the back and the edge. So you would have a scan here, scan here, scan here, and then it can capture the characteristic of that edge. Okay, it's a little bit more advanced. We're not going to do that, but that's, if you have an object that has an edge, your go-to is bracket scan. Okay, so we're going to do a single, and we always do a test scan. It doesn't matter if I'm doing a bracket or a 360. We always go to the single and do a test scan. And what that means is we're going to make sure all of our settings right. We're going to do one scan, and we want to make sure the scanner can see the object. Okay? Because you might have an odd object that's a little bit shiny or a little bit transparent, and you think you have all the settings right. You hit the test scan, and it just comes out. It doesn't look anything like it. You've got to go through those golden rules. Did I place that object at the correct distance? Did I deal with transparency? Did I mount it properly? Did I put it in the blind spot? Always do a test scan before you go into 360 or any of these other. You know why? Because here you only wasted your time on 1 scan. If you set it up wrong, you just wasted your time on 16 scans. Because you come back an hour later and you have nothing. You get it? All right. So always do a test scan. When do you do a test scan?
Always.
Right on. Okay. It's good. It's really, I'm not trying to be sexist or anything, but when I have like men and women in a class, and I point to a woman and I ask always, like, do a test scan, and I say, so when do you do a test scan? The women will always say, well, you should like do this and that and like this and that. And when I ask a man that, they're just like, always.
One word. We only have so many words.
I don't know what that's how like, see, there are differences between men and women, see? Okay.
I run out of words after about 7 o'clock.
We're succinct, aren't we? So we're going to do a test scan. And here, this next one here is points per inches. And we're just going to kind of go middle of the road. This is like, you can see what the resolution is. This is points per square inch. So on the quick, 135 points, and we can go all the way up to HD 29,000, and then we can even bump it up even further than that. But we're going to go middle of the road, okay? 850 points per square inch. That's lots, okay? This target, I usually keep it at light. It gives it a little bit smoother scan. Don't ask me why this is here. I think it's for the texture capture. And it shouldn't affect what we're doing, but it does, so I always leave it at light. It gives a smoother scan. All right, so now what I'm going to do is, you're up first. Yay! You're going to sit here. I just want to go over the overview, and I'm going to show you a couple of other things here while I'm here. So I'm going to turn that off, and we're going to look up here while I'm pointing this up. So we got the good settings here for a test. There are a couple of things that I want you to also see. You see these buttons up here where it says turn. Okay, so press that one down and hold it. So you can control the turntable and what angle you want. So you don't have to, once you have it set, you can turn it to get to where you want it to scan. So I want you to turn it where it's going to go to this pointy part here. Right. Awesome, right there, good. The other thing is, here's another thing that you're going to want to know, is what it's going to scan, what it sees in this window is what's going to scan and capture data. But sometimes there are things that are not important, like this pole, right? I don't want that. So you can actually put a bounding box around what you really want. It will save time. Okay, you have to use it cautiously, because you don't want to clip things, especially when you're doing something all the way around. So what you're going to do is you're going to click here, hold, click, hold, drag to here. Okay? Right on. And let go. So there's that bounding box. You can't resize it. You have to always redraw it. Question I always get is, well, what about stuff in the background? Well, what did I say about range? It's going to be blind to things outside of that window. But what if you have a mirror, you have something shiny in the background, and that laser hits it, it reflects back into the sensor, like that. Okay, it can distort. So you don't have to really worry about stuff in the background, but if you see something that's shiny, you just want to move it out of the way so that it's not going to be reflecting some weird thing there.
How shiny is your cup in there? Is that,
Huh? Oh, what?
how shiny is your cup?
Not enough. It's not a mirror finish, so I wouldn't worry about that. Okay, so what you're going to do now is you're going to hit start. Right. So it's going to do the test scan. Okay. And what happens is this comes up. This is our kind of our work area, and it's going to. This is not going to take very long at all. It takes about 45 seconds to 90 seconds, or to 60 seconds.
Now, for that bounding box, if we were to concerned about not clipping it, can we like rotate to the profile, do the bounding box, and then rotate it to where you want it to start to make sure that the widest point was within that?
That's what we're going to do. When we go into 360, I'm going to show you how that works, okay? Like how you should do it. But you can see what it's doing. It's starting to capture the data here.
Like, we were talking kind of about textures. Can you scan textures and then apply them to different models?
I've
So,
never
like, on
tried
that
that
one-
before. I don't know if the software, I really don't know. I'm sure you could fudge it or like do a workaround, because it saves it as image files, and I mean there's no reason why you could just substitute the image, use the same file name, and have it do that. I've never done it before. Okay. Okay, the most important thing is when we do a test scan is that the scanner sees the object and that it looks like what we want it to look like. So it does, it looks like what we want it to look like. So grab the mouse, and now you can start to rotate that around.
Press and move.
Yeah, okay. Okay, now I'm just going to show you a couple. You see these bouncing balls over here?
Mhm.
Okay, now the first one really, that one is color. That if we had captured texture, we would have seen the red and the blue and the pink. Do the one right below it. It doesn't show it. Okay, go ahead. And you rotate it around so we can see the front. Okay, it didn't really change between the two because we didn't capture texture. So those two really have no difference unless you're capturing texture. Click the second one, or third one, and zoom in. That one's mesh. Zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. And so now you can see the mesh of the scan. Okay, hit the last one at the bottom. Right, and that's the point cloud. So you can look at the data any way you want. All right. Okay, and now go back to the surface, the second one. Yeah, that's surface. Just basically a surface body. And do you see how it clipped that pole at the bottom? Right. So rotate that so we can just kind of see that right there. Good. And so here's the thing that you want to, when you're doing this, you're going to want to clean up if there's noise or stuff like that you don't want. Before we go into post-processing, we start joining things together. You're going to want to go into trim here. Okay, and they're a little different. There's a round guy, and then I usually use that or the polygon if I want to surround an area. But go ahead and click that circle brush, and then just paint the thing that you want to get rid of. Okay, the whole thing. Don't be afraid. There we go. Got it. And hit trim.
What's the other little tab down there?
I don't know.
I think that's part of the heart, and that's
Yeah.
the pole.
I don't know. It's not really that critical, but there it cleans it up. So we'll go into post-processing, clean it up, get rid of the noise and whatever things that are not good. Okay, before you post-process it, it can really,
There's a little valve over there to the right.
it could really. That's part of the descending aorta. It can really help with alignment if you take the time to clean things up before you. Here's an example, like when you do a scan, like 360, a bunch of scans, 16 scans, and it goes to auto align it, and it doesn't. Like it's like Star Trek mutation, transporter mutation. It's probably there are a couple of reasons why that would happen. You didn't have the resolution high enough. Okay. You had some shine or some weird interference, or you had some extraneous thing like the pole or something off to the side that it was capturing, and it's trying to line that up into all together, and it just doesn't like it. Okay, so go in there and make sure you clean up all the garbage of the things that you don't want in your scan, and then you can hit the realign button, and it usually just comes together like that.
So that took out that bottom chunk of the pole, but what happens when it goes to the opposite side with more pole in the heart on that end?
But I don't understand your question.
Well,
Like when as this rotates, when it scans from back here.
Okay. You just clean it up.
there's another. Oh, so you're just talking about when you choose whatever scan you want to choose,
Yeah.
you clean it up at that stage.
Well, you see, okay, we just did one. I just wanted to show you.
Right.
But if you're doing 16 scans,
Mhm.
and you're going to see this pole sticking out, because we're going to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can, if you're really bored and you're just sitting there, I can't wait till these 16 scans, you can go and clean each one up as it comes out.
Mhm.
Or you can go get a cup of coffee, right?
Mhm.
And when it's done, you can come in, you can see all the 16 scans will be there, and you can just erase that pole from all of them at the same time. Okay? We're going to switch. Right. Okay. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go back.
The screen's dark.
Oh, no, don't use that screen. You're going to look up here.
Oh.
Because I'm going to point. You know what? I've taught so many classes. I know that if I point here, you're going to be looking there. You're not going to know what I'm talking about.
That's
So I
true.
turn it off to make you look up here.
That's intentional.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything I do with intent.
It's a poor man's touchscreen.
Yeah, hit back for me. Right on. Okay, so we're going to hit scan. And this time we're going to go to bracket.
Should we not look at the thing?
Okay.
Not look at
Okay,
it?
so here's the class. Here's how I teach. I'm not like the pilot, and you're learning how to fly, right?
Yeah.
And there's a mountain in front of us, and I say pull up.
Yeah.
Don't ask me like, should I do this? Just like pull up. We're gonna die.
Okay.
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 This is the way I teach all my classes. Do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. Don't get distracted by anything else. You're gonna learn it faster than anybody else. Okay.
Okay.
You're gonna hit bracket. Okay, good. And now what this is gonna do, remember, it's going to do these two are related. It's going to do a bracket. It's going to scan like that, and like that, 90 degrees. Okay? what I want you to do is I want you to redraw, just so that you can see it. You're going to click, hold, and make a tight bounding box around the heart. Right. Boom. Good. Right. Let go. Okay. So this is going to bracket. Now I showed you the inner buttons. Here are the outer buttons. What those do is when you click it once, click that once, it's going to go 90 degrees and stop.
Stop.
Just let it go. So why would you use that? Well, if you're using bracket, you know you're testing the boundaries of that turn. And that's bad. It just went out of the, it just clipped.
Yeah.
So redraw it, and we can assume I would start from here, click and hold, and then bring it up. Do you see that?
Yeah.
At the top. Get up right at the, don't be shy, right at the top. Yeah. Click, hold, and down, maybe a little bit further. Right on. Perfect. Okay. And now do this one. No, that one. The outlier. The outlier ones go to the predetermined degree and then stop. That was our front. Okay, and do it again. And that's always do that. Okay, when do you do that?
Always.
Right. Good. Make it go forward again.
When is it dangerous to look at the thing? To look at this?
What are the dangers?
Can it hurt your eyes? Are
This is
there?
actually a real low. It's a low watt laser.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's like just like 5 watts.
Oh.
It's a carbon dioxide laser. 5 watts. Won't hurt you.
Okay.
Those are junk. Anybody know lasers? That's like a really powerful laser that would burn your eyes out. No, it's like a sub-milliwatt. Like, now I'm telling the truth. It's a sub-milliwatt. It's like a 1 milliwatt laser.
The 5 was the joke. No, is that just
We obviously don't.
Yeah, I bet when people tell jokes around you, you're like the guy who like laughs 20 seconds later.
No, we don't know the numbers. So if you say
Oh.
20,000, we say, oh, it's a lot.
Okay.
Or it's a little.
Yeah, because like the laser cutters out here, I think they're like a watt or 2 laser. And those are big freaking tubes. They burn. So I said 5 watts. That'll burn through steel and like your mother-in-law in town. Okay? So,
Well, lamps.
Now they're like the 1,000-watt laser pointers they do in the sky, right?
yeah, those are 1 watt. Those are not even a watt.
That was a watt. Okay.
Those are not even a watt. I mean, okay, this, a 60-watt light bulb is not the same as a 60-watt laser.
Yeah.
Okay, 60-watt laser, they shoot missiles out of the sky with. All right, so I don't even know if they have one of those, but it's huge. We're not going to do 90 degrees. We're going to actually we're going to go to 8. So this is going to be 45 degrees. 45 degrees. Okay? And we're not going to change anything here. Everything is good. Go ahead and hit start. So it's going to do 3 scans. And what we're going to see next is we're going to see down, this was our first scan. These are what the scan families. Every time you hit scan, like to start, you're going to create a new scan family. This one, you see the panel here, has 1. This one is bracketed, it's going to have 3. And we're going to see like a panel here that has 3. When we do 360, that scan panel, you're going to see a bunch of panels all going around in a circle. Okay? Okay. So my boys will be at the train station at 6:50. I will leave here at 6:45 and be back at 6:55, approximately.
Okay. We'll take a 10-minute break.
It's just 5 minutes?
Yeah, the train station is just like down, just like the Carrollton station is real close.
I mean, it's not a whole lot. It's not even get on the,
I don't even have to
Anyway.
get on the highway, just like
yeah, if you got on, you get right back off.
Right,
It's probably
yeah.
that line.
it's like real close. And there's Farmers Branch, which is a little bit further away. The Carrollton's super close.
In the first one.
So there's the first one, and okay. So click. What I want you to do, we're gonna do this now. In post, when we finally get into post processing, what is key are where you see that one is in green and the other one that we're doing right now is in blue. Okay. we can only move up, we can trim anything in the green or blue, but once we go past that and want to do other things like fuse or polish or simplify, when we post process, it has to be in the green. Okay, the green is like, okay, go, green, go. That because what will sometimes happen is, go ahead and click on B here. And come up. Okay, that was the first one. Rotate it around so we can see that side. Okay, that's that side there. Right. Now, what sometimes you can trim in here, but when we go into the other things after that, what people will do is they'll click on like fuse or polish. They'll click on B, right? And they think they're polishing or they're simplifying what they have here, but they're not. They're actually doing what's in the green. And it's really confusing, and nobody, they don't really, barely mention it. So what we have to do is we have to take the thing out of A, put it into the blue, and take the thing that's B and put it into the green. So you right click on A. You have to right click and let go. Right click on A, click, right click. Detach. Don't hit delete, detach. Goes into the blue. Now right click on B.
So the green is the actual project.
Attach. Okay? And another thing you're going to do, you're going to right click on B. At the top it says expand family. So we're going down a level, a sub level. We see B1. This is scan family B, but this is B1, and then we're going to see B2, and then B3, which are the three that we did. When we go into the 360, and we go into that sub level, depending on if we set it at 8 divisions, we'll see C1, C2, all the way up to 8. Okay? So we're just waiting now on the front one, I guess, and then it'll do the other one.
Where did A disappear to?
Hit up, the green up.
Oh, the up.
Remember, we're on a sub level.
Oh, okay.
Now we're up in the main, the root level. Okay? Now on A, we don't need it, so right click on A and delete. Okay? Pro tip, if you have a bunch of scans here that you are trying different settings and it starts to build up in here, your file is going to start to get large. Okay, and if you save it, it's going to save all of that crap. So it's always a good idea to keep yourself organized and keep your file size low. Delete the things that you know for sure that you're not going to use, and just keep the things that you know are important, because it can get confusing if you have a complex object that you're scanning. You're going to keep organized. The more complex the object, the more complex the scan, and the more of these things you're going to have that you have to stitch together. You can get lost. So sometimes I'll make even a little note. Okay, C2 I want to keep, B I can delete, or it'll tell me. Okay, when it gets to become some of the small things that you're doing, you don't have to even worry about that. But I've done large objects where you have to do that. And we're on 3. So right click on B, expand panel. So we got B1 and B2. They're already aligned, so if you just rotate that.
What do you mean aligned?
Well, I mean it did a scan like that and a scan like that. So what it did, those panorama shots, it stitched them together. Okay, kind of a right. So there you go. Here it comes. There's B3. Right. Okay, if you rotate it, it's doing a global alignment. So the bottom line is just making it, fining it up a little bit. You see? Let me just wait. Right. Okay. Go ahead and hit trim. You can hit up, and go ahead and hit trim. So maybe this answers trim. Right there. There. All right. Go ahead. Okay, and rotate that guy around so you can see where that post is. Okay, so that post that we see there is actually a combination of all 3 views that it just scanned. So go ahead and hit the round brush at the top, right, and just paint that whole thing. Right. And what I want you to do, I want you to bring that cursor right into the middle of the heart and click. Oops, you just accidentally clicked something you didn't want to click. I don't want to delete that. Oh no, am I going to have to start all over again? No. You see where it says D and select? Hit the negative and bring your cursor back over. Click and rub it around. There we go. Okay? Hit trim for me. And now I've got rid of the pole in all three. Okay, we're going to switch. This is a perfect time to do the 360 because when I get back, it'll be done. It'll be almost done or done. So you're going to hit
Scan.
You hit 360.
How many?
We're going to leave it at 8.
Okay.
And when you do 360, but you do the inner buttons, the inner ones there, not the outers, the inner, and click and hold it. When you do a 360, rotate that guy all the way around. Always, always, always. Rotate the thing all the way around. It's clipping up at the top there. And the reason why is the scanner's not high enough. You see? That's why I like that part. Because it's deceptive. So what I'm going to do, I don't know.
I guess hearts are usually deceptive.
Huh?
I guess hearts are usually deceptive.
Yes. Don't. I did something. What did I do?
Oh, always, always.
Ah,
Rule number 1.
good. Right.
Sweet spot.
Yeah. Right. And I'm going to put that.
Can send that.
Okay. That's best practice. I move this or I move that. Check your distance right away. Okay. Now rotate it around in the center one. Yeah. Okay, so just, redo it from there. Good. Click, hold, and then down. Good. Right away. Good. Down a little. Just go a little bit lower. Right there. Good. And now, anytime you change anything, rotate it all the way around again. Don't ever assume. This is going to be perfect.
Is there too much space above it now, or just nothing about it? Just black the top?
Yeah, okay, I've seen some people, like, tell them about the bounding box, and they're like, I'm going to get that thing right, there's not going to be it. Like, you can't see light through that, right? You don't have to be that way. It's just like, kind of what most of the stuff, you don't have to be like crazy. But we're ready to go. You're going to hit start. You can hit start. I'm going to go run and get my boys. This is 8 scans. It's going to be about 8 minutes. Okay. So it should be done when I get back. Okay, guys? We'll take a little break, and I'll be back shortly.
So you do CAD?
I do CAD, yeah.
How would I CAD this thing out, or how? I'm trying to figure out how to get. I need to get this thing on. She said the scanning.
Yeah, what he meant is that you do the 3D print, then you have a point cloud.
Yeah.
You can do that. Yeah. If someone does CAD, you can just measure this, measure that, and get this, very close to what you need.
Because like those backside, these are just little suction cups they cut off, so it's just flat. So why don't you just get that without this crap on there?
Oh, without that, yeah, that's.
And then that's you just kind of rub that off in design, I guess.
Yeah, that's I would say worst come to worst an hour job.
Yeah.
And for to
You did it in 15 minutes.
he can do it in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, he has CAD, and I have one here. I have another one. Something that I never used Fusion before, but he told us about Fusion, and now I love it.
Yeah.
Because you can never do this with the other software.
How do you download Fusion? I didn't get that on my computer.
Go to Autodesk. Yeah. No, I'm in the trial version.
What's the regular version cost?
No, it's like $50 a month.
Okay, so monthly.
But Fusion 360. But if you say you're in at Hobbies, it's free. I don't know how it works. Mine is still on trial, but I think we're in trial, and you can subscribe as a hobbyist, startup. Then they will give you a free. So, like for something like that,
Usually you put it on a computer and you trace around it.
no, I think probably a Cadbury or something. He's got a Cadbury somewhere here.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm making dinner. Wish.
Are you making dinner in the shed?
My daughter is asking me, making dinner. I'm not at home for dinner. Okay, so
There's the glue gun.
there's a,
I had a caliper at home. Towards the key, obviously. I guess me being in the scan helps.
yeah, I'm just roughly 7 hours per go.
Would be a conic curve. I don't know. It's called a spline. I guess you could literally mirror the image, or you just create just that stupid thing, right? And then mirror it. And then
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. So this thing is a little bit not still used to using without.
We sell those?
Oh yeah. So that's the first version in silicone. It's pretty decent. And it holds. I like the first version. And the inventor is not happy. Wants to go even more hardcore with it, but for adhesion. So that's why we're doing this version of section cup because it had technical errors on that section. But it works. If you keep it dry, like any section cut, if you keep it dry and burnt, it stays on there, and it's great because you can cut through. It's just like pounds and pounds of carrots and potatoes and stuff like that. Just not feel that edge. I don't even know why the hell they're doing the knife edge square like that. You know, it's ridiculous. Because you're always, right on the edge and stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And so yeah, it works really well.
And like you extrude. What is the thickness of that in millimeter? I didn't change that.
Yeah.
It's
Let me see here.
The thinner parts.
Let's go to
let's say
the
one.
patent. Tell us all maybe.
Oh, you got patent?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me see here. I'm putting this together because the.
So let me see the pattern on that. Is it something like that?
Oh, here we go, right here. There it is.
Oh yeah.
Size on it.
So it's going from there to there.
No, he doesn't have the
And the
size of the
rest
thing
of
on
it
there.
just follows that. Now, let me just does it have,
It's not computer yet.
this is surface.
You guys want to try this at home? Green and white.
Well, pretty cool.
Don't worry, I got you covered.
I'm gonna break into the package for. Do you want white or green?
You want a knife on him?
Doesn't matter.
I'm usually the white. I'm usually the one white guy that doesn't have a knife.
I do a lot of cooking.
So you're not the inventor?
No, I'm just a chef.
You're the chef? You are literally a chef?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool.
So this is a good time that I ask him the question when he comes back because he doesn't have one of the features that I need.
You want green, white, or red?
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Flexible.
I've got the opinion that maybe there is a weakness with the color. Creates a weakness in the thing.
So this helps you chop up stuff.
Oh yeah. So you just got obviously the grip is that way. So you want to make sure your knife is dry all the time, and keep you don't keep the knife and the section dry and keep working it. Good to go.
Helps you align correctly on the back because most people grab by the handle and the handle's actually back
And then
here.
you just gotta relax and it just goes, And it'll help avoid getting these calluses right here, on the hands there. Pounding sounds. So, the chefs, like, my chef in the last restaurant. He's like, oh, shit. I showed him that. Because it's not the chefs doing the thing, they have
Right.
things to prove, you know, that,
Yeah.
you know, not just all
Let's
the
get them
crap.
a recipe, train people how to.
Well, who are the main guys that are cutting up all this stuff, you know? So
Yeah.
those are the guys that are using it and loving it, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you're getting slave.
Yeah, it's not the head chef. It's,
Yeah, you're getting slave driven all day long, and so any little bit of comfort helps, you know?
Yeah. So we need 100 of them.
For my fucking order. Because that's common chef.
You don't need that.
You know that what they say, never piss off the chef, or something like that. Never.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. Dust it off and send it back. That's true. Oh man, I got some chefs that was like, the people are so demanding too. You know, it's just like, well, this isn't fresh. We just made it. You know.
Yeah.
Talking about not fresh. So, pretty funny.
Yeah, some people
Where do you work?
are not happy.
I was at Whistle Britches. I used to be at Whistle Britches.
Where's that?
It's Frankfurt and Preston. I was a suited head shoe chef there. Very talented chef online.
Yeah.
Never quarantine magazine last year.
They did what, Casa Rubia?
Yeah, that was his baby. Yeah, he closed that thing down. I think his partner was in the money. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that was down in the Trinity Gross thing.
Yeah, that was good.
What's his name?
He's always spot on. It's like calling Neo from the Matrix. He's like on the spot. He puts it together. It's crazy.
What material is this?
Silicone. It's got to be food safe. So,
Yeah.
you know.
I should have brought the scissors up here because I'm not sure what type of material it's made out of, but someone here might be able to just touch it and tell.
Yeah. Well, there's a you know, the durometer of it. You know, and that was obviously soft. It's more toward 30, I think.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a.
Yeah, there's a hardness scale. Yeah.
No, there's a hardness scale.
Yeah.
Well, that's helpful.
Yeah.
It's not as obviously hard as the PLA stuff.
Yeah, well then, obviously, well, if you're gonna do it on 3D printer, it's gonna see different than whether it's compression molding or injection molding.
I don't know anything about it.
Well, I'm saying it's like the compression one, obviously, it squirts something in there, squeezes it, it's gotta dry, it's a little bit slower, and then pops it out. And the injection one, it's closed, and they inject the stuff inside there, form, dry, boom, pops it open. So that's
Oh,
good. So, but then you have to have, obviously, molds created for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Well, you probably create one on the vacuum table over there if you have it already.
I have no idea. I mean, I'm just kind of getting. I just need to get that CAD thing as soon as I can get it. So, and I was trying to save some money instead of just going through these companies.
Oh, yeah.
For, like, thousands of dollars to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the resin printer they have over there, I was actually thinking about buying one. There's one called MakerBot that's used as the normal printing. It's about $2,400.
Yeah.
Those are about $1,850 or so, but they're do great. And then the resin one is $3,500. And I was looking, and that one's really
What
nice.
about the ones that found food?
For food. I'm not familiar with those.
Yeah, they've got the special cartridge stuff that's edible, and
Never heard
the
of
thing
that.
it creates different forms, and you actually eat it.
That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah,
They make the best finger foods ever.
Yeah, real big
Just
figure.
eat this block, open the tube, and the green stuff comes out. That was Matrix, right? Or was it white?
I think the food printing was first in what is it, Enterprise?
He went to pick up his kids. That's always an excuse. I usually drop kids out the pool with
There's always one in the class. That's right. Hey, you're that guy, huh?
Well, my friend said he was going to pick up his kids over there. I said, well, you just call us the time. That's pretty funny. Anyways, so you would cutting boards and stuff like that.
A lot of woodwork stuff. Yeah, a lot of design. So I do a lot of whatever people want design.
So, like, for example, like that one he showed us, it's got like the sun down here, and it's got those squiggly lines that go up to the top.
It just kind of helps bring the juice together, or is it more design, or is it more?
That right there, believe it or not, is only for aesthetics.
Okay.
The actual design of the board. So imagine Keys in here. He's making violins. And I've got a business and I make cutting boards and stuff like that, and make those countertops and do anything natural wood. And I said, I need you to sit with me because I'm about to change the industry in this. He's like, what do you want me to work on? And I said, let me show you. So I'd taken this class, and I'd taken the first one like 3 times. I'd taken the second one, third, sort of learning how to model and extrude and all that other stuff. Well, there were certain parts that we never covered in the class.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm off by enough that I know I'm not going to be able to do this. So I started showing it to him the slight curvature of the boards. The boards aren't flat. So imagine most cutting boards are either a flat piece of wood or they're a flat piece of wood where someone's cut a juice channel in it.
Mhm. Yeah.
He said, okay, so what I want to do is I want to create prep stations for a kitchen centerpiece. And when I went and sold my boards, it's interesting because I would go to these shows and stuff like that. People walk by and I watch them. They walk by and they turn and they look and they just keep walking. And I go, you don't want to touch them? And they go, it's too expensive. I don't have prices on anything. I go, how you know it's too expensive? They go, I would never cut on it. They stop and they come back and they go, it's beautiful. I would never use it. And I was like, thank you. They're like, well, that's what I said. But the point is it's so. I said, would you ever do that with a car? If you buy a beautiful car that you love, you still drive it. Yes, we get brand new cars and we drive them. Eventually, they're not the shiny penny anymore. And they were like, you trying to sell me? I said, no, I'm trying to explain to you the fact that I design these with the idea of making them pretty first. They're all functional. They all have all the same function. So what I decided to do was, how can I change the actual design and function of what you would consider a cutting board? So I looked on everything on Instagram, and everything looking at Pinterest, everything else, and I had some of these ideas in my head. So I was like, how do I make a board where the top of it curves towards the middle ever so slightly? So when you're cutting that big, when you're cutting the big brisket or whatever and all the blood's coming, it comes from the side, it doesn't go out to the edges. So I make like a little lip around the edge. And at the same time, make a gradual curve from one end to the other. So not only is it flowing to the middle, but it's going to one end, and then it goes over that little waterfall down into the thing on the end,
Reservoir.
the reservoir. And then I made little pour spouts on the corners of the reservoir. So when I told Key this, he's looking at me like, what? So we started going through, and imagine he's sitting here, he's like a mad scientist. I tried cookies and all kinds of stuff for like 2 months, never got anything. Finally, we were sitting here, and then finally, after about one night, he was like, oh. He's like, and well, it is about making that beautiful wood. So then all of a sudden he goes, well, I said, now what I want to do, we got that part done. So now,
is it like in the center, or is it like?
I've got it in the car, I'll bring it up here in a minute. But what do you mean, what's in the center?
Is it pulled to the center, or is it the opposite direction?
It not only flows to the middle, but it flows towards the end where the reservoir is. So on one end, it's actually 3/8 to a ½ inch higher than it is over here where the reservoir is. And it's also higher in the corners. So it doesn't pull in the corners, and it basically will go to one end. And then when we were first doing it, this was the cool part when we were using this, we made it slope all the way. And then when we got there and we ran the things, all the liquid, or most liquid, was sitting in the corners. Because the corners actually had to be higher as well. Even though they were going down, we actually had to make it go and slope back up so as the liquid came, it would turn. And so we started running the modeling. You could run these modeling sequences to see how the water would flow on it.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, so we started doing that. And now, I don't know if he told you, but that one board, I posted it on Facebook. And now we're designing 2 boards for the chefs at a museum by Frank Lloyd Wright up in Tulsa right now. Okay, and now I've had other designers. So people I call on now is kitchen designers. So I'm building this. I've got a laundry room that someone wants me to redo. and they wanted me to do a cabinet or a countertop in there. And it was this little bitty tiny laundry room, and I go, "Let me put a sink in there." Like, you can't get a sink there. I said, "Yeah, I can." But like in that laundry room, because there's only this much space between the washer and dryer. That's it. So I said, "Okay." I said, I can put one in there. They said, "How are you gonna put one in there?" So I showed them, and they were like, "I can't believe that you're gonna do that." I said, "Well," I said, "and then this is the design of what the top's gonna look like. They fold their clothes, so if any liquid gets up on there, it just rolls right into the sink." So we can take that with all we can. So I'm actually, you guys have been to any buffet anywhere like at a hotel, you know the big shake dishes, little pans, little hot pans, pull it out. Well, I used to work in the hotel industry, and I kept thinking, how do I make a sink this narrow? So I went online and found guys who made custom sinks. To get me to build a sink that was 21 inches long, like 6 inches deep, and only about 7 inches wide, like $200 or $300 just for the basin. So I was like, I've seen this. So what I did was I went on to my restaurant supply, found the pan, the exact same size, stainless steel, deep pan, $14.84. Just drill a hole in the bottom of it, put a little above the little 2-inch drain. That was it. The whole thing, the spout, everything, completely. $25 for all the hardware, pipe, everything.
On the sink, would you coat it with something?
Yeah, I just poly it. I'll just poly it. I'll poly it, and then I'll sand it and poly it again, stuff like that. I'll probably put like 4 or 5 coats of poly on it, and it'll be fine.
Cool.
Yeah. So you can make a lot of things down here.
What do you charge to make sinks like that?
That one, with the countertop, see, I'm doing a whole lot. That whole thing I'm doing underneath the washer and dryer, and I'm doing above. So I'm gonna do the cabinets too. So I'm doing the whole remodel for them for like $1,200. So, I mean,
It's not bad.
no, it's not bad at all. But that sink, the sink and the top, once I finish that, that's now something I can add to my website. So I add it to the website and say, I customized and found a solution for a small laundry room.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you're doing woodwork, it's square. Make it square, make it flat, whatever corners you want, finishes. That's about it. And there's not a whole lot to it other than trying to figure out how to put it all together sometimes. And having the vision of it. So
Yeah, something that he showed yesterday, I was thinking since then, it's like a block that's inside another block. And I'm thinking that how you make internal corners so sharp that these two blocks fit.
well, because
your tool is round.
well, no, you can have it can be round. It can be round at the bottom. You can have a bullnose. You can have a bullnose at the bottom, or you can have a flat. Or you can have what they call a V bit. So the V bit is it's this shape, but it can also cut. It cuts on an angle as it cuts down in there.
Okay, so it goes in.
Yeah. So you can have a flat bottom, and when we cut these pieces, what can happen is like we've got some things we're going to be doing where you cut one piece here, and it cuts the other piece over here, and they're inverse of each other. They're completely perfect. Now they will move completely together.
Bad thing.
Yeah, because I was thinking, well,
I was gonna,
that external
close to
chart
it. It cost me an extra 10, 15 minutes.
it goes like this, but
That's okay.
internal goes
I
around.
know.
I told you, be okay with Canes.
I thought they like close the door. You got 5:30. It's it.
Yeah. So
If you come in with the cane,
the precision of these machines is amazing. Like I'll bring those down. I've got them in the car. So the boards. You got mustard all over your face.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well
You
know what?
Have you been blowing a?
We're all guys
six-
here. Who
have
cares?
You been blowing a 6 Smurf or something?
6 Smurf.
Really blue?
Okay.
A very thick one.
All right. Next.
All right.
All right. Okay.
There you go. That's for your knife. It's a knife grip.
It's a knife grip.
It goes on the knife like that, just towards you. You just got, as long as it's nice, clean, when you keep it up the nose.
So you're trying to sell these, or are you selling them?
Yeah, try it. Starting to
Are you? Did he tell you? Yeah. I work with 20 different companies from first make the roll forward for near PVC.
Right.
Yeah. That's how I started all this.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
So,
Well, that's not one of your boards.
huh?
That's not one of your boards.
Okay. Well, and we may talk about that because this is the type of stuff that you get on PVC. You get to sell $10,000 a minute.
Ah.
I don't know if it's a bad thing.
No.
Okay, all right. Let's see some what he's not eating.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's for you.
Mmm. Alright. Good. Okay. Did one of you guys clean it up or something?
No.
Oh, wait. No, we're on C.
There it goes.
Okay. You're up next. Right? You did it. You did one. Right? You're up next. Okay.
Are we gonna detach and delete that one?
Or let's follow.
Yeah.
No thinking aloud. Okay.
You can delete this one. Delete. And then attach that one. Right. So go ahead and clean up the pole.
So I gotta get my spinning technique in there. Do I need to go more, or is that good?
Yeah, I mean, this is not critical. Just,
Oh.
clean up most of it.
Oh.
You can use this wheel to zoom in and out.
Ah,
Okay.
bienvenido. Circle, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, plus, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so.
Mhm.
So then as I get up here, I gotta go a little slower.
Now, it will go through. All the way through. You'll notice, just bring the cursor over here. Normally to rotate here, you would use the left mouse button to rotate, but when you click it, you can't do it, right?
Right.
How do you do it? You hold down both mouse buttons. Oh, that's pan.
Okay.
But the wheel,
Right.
click the wheel down,
Yeah.
you can rotate it now.
Ah,
Notice it went through?
yeah.
So this. Right. There we go. Good. Don't leave that. We might leave that. Let's see what else. Can you clean up a little bit more? Use the wheel. Use the wheel to rotate.
Oh, so I'm not selecting anything now?
Well, you got to rotate it. You don't want
Oh.
anything behind it.
Yeah, it's like a red.
Yeah. Just like you got to get it right.
Oh, there's it there. Okay, I see it.
Okay. Right. And then you want to rotate this just so you kind of get this profile.
Am I off axe here?
Right there. Okay. Okay, you have to move subtly, not so jerkily.
And
Just
I'm-
move it over a little bit. Come on, come on, come on.
Oh.
There, right there. Stop.
Okay.
Now just clean that up.
Ah.
Go ahead.
So is it kind of auto-intelligent for going all the way up there?
No.
What am I missing? Too far?
Good enough.
Alright, sorry, my eyes are killing me.
Yeah. This is just okay, hit trim.
You wanna go to shorten that thing behind?
Good enough for get rid of these specks. You don't want mesh outside. Like, okay, I don't know why you're moving. Don't move.
I don't know where I move either.
Click on those specs. One, do the other one.
It was red. I couldn't see if it was red.
Doesn't matter. Sometimes it's bad software. There.
Oh,
Okay. Hit that. Next thing we're gonna do. Okay, you can see rotate it around, and let's just look at it. It did 8 scans. Let go. You can see some parts it could not capture because it couldn't see it. Now, there might be occasions where you want to scan something and it's not seeing everything. This is where it starts to get, to scan it, it's going to take more time and more skill, more technique. But we can still get away with this. If this is not critical. We're going to go to Fuse. Remember, this was 8 scans. So if you right-click on here, expand family, there are 8 of them. Do you see? Okay, go up. You're going to go to Settings. Now, these are your go-to defaults. Mesh Reconstruction, High, Relaxed Fitting, Create Watertight. That Create Watertight is going to fill in all the holes. It's going to extrapolate the data from other parts. And is that too bright for you or what?
Yeah.
Better?
Sorry, it's my eyes.
Okay.
Too much screens.
And it'll fill the holes in very beautifully. Hit apply. Okay. And now you're going to fuse. Right, we just wait. So it's going to take those 8 separate meshes and fuse them into one.
Is there any reason you'd want to go back out of a fuse to fix something and come back toward it, or just once you're fused, you're good to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Look around.
How do I stay on axe? There we go. Okay, there we go.
Okay? Not bad.
Fancy.
Hit back. Let's go to polish. Now, these are in the wrong order. Okay? First thing you want to do, if anything, you're going to simplify first. And what that's going to do, would you click on that bottom ball, zoom in. Come on. You see there's like density, there's like some parts are more dense than others in the mesh. I mean, not so close that we can't see it. There, good. Some are thinner, there's more density. That's because of where there was overlap in the scans. What Simplify does is it evens things out, but it'll remesh it so that you don't have as many points. So if this file here is like 100 megabytes, you can shrink it down by a percentage of something. I'm going to explain to you, not by a percentage, but by using tolerance. So the default is 5,000. That's the tolerance. If I want to remesh this and have it shrink the file size down by half, I would put 10,000 here. If I wanted to have it again or make it a quarter the size, I would put 20,000. Make sense? Math. So why don't you put in just 10,000? Good. And hit simplify for me. You don't have to select anything. It's just going to do the whole object. Okay, so you don't have to use any of this stuff. Zoom in. Come on. Zoom in.
I'm trying to count. I'm pushing it far. It won't.
Oh. Click off to the side or something. Try again.
There it goes.
Okay. See how it evened it out? This also shrunk the file size. Go back.
It evened it out. Like we mean.
Remember it was all blotchy, some were thick, some areas were dense, and now it's all even.
Yeah.
Dot density.
Yeah, it's the density of that mesh is now evened out. Buff. Oh, would you click on surface, the second one here? Now, Simplify can have an effect on details. Be aware of that. Not very much, but some. Where buff is going to have more of an effect. Hit buff for me. And you're going to hit this buff button. This is going to come up. I'm going to explain this to you. There's less smooth and more smooth. Think of this as sandpaper. And this is, again, in reverse. I think this must have been developed in France or somewhere. Because I think
That's probably true.
Their grammar is backwards from ours. So this is actually, you want to imagine this is like 400 grit paper, where this one is like 80 grit paper, and in between. So if you put, it's additive. So what I say is, don't ever use this one. Just use this one, apply it. If it needs more, apply it again. If it needs more, apply it again. A couple of pro tips here. We're going to use stay at less smooth, but we're going to put a deviation tolerance in here. It gives you a little bit better result. So just put in 0.1. That's a good number to put in. Okay, and then you're just going to hit buff. I'm just going to buff this whole thing and maybe get some rid of that modeling and stuff. Okay, and then there it is. It created a new one. Just rotate around. Yeah, I'm going to smooth it out a little bit. And it was just very gentle. We're going to go back. This is fill. Fill, don't click it. Fill basically is if there are little holes or things like that, you can click that and it'll find the holes in your mesh and fill those holes. Don't ever use that. It doesn't work. Okay? So half the time it doesn't work. The other half of the time it crashes the computer. Okay? There is no good reason to ever use this. Don't even like, I'm gonna just try it. No, just forget about it. Just if you're gonna use a scanner, just get some black electrical tape and put it right here. Okay? And you're gonna go back. And now I'm gonna jump in and move to the next.
How robust is that computer, the computer that's needed for this kind of?
How's what?
How robust is it for like the CPU and the RAM?
I mean, this one's pretty decent. I don't know exactly what the specs are, but
Okay.
I wouldn't use a 386 with 16 megabytes of RAM. You never heard of that before. That's before your time, right? Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Yeah, I bet. Well, it's a 486 computer.
Oh yeah.
486. Like, I mean, I had a 486 with like 8 megabytes of RAM, and it was blazing.
I haven't thought about that in a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
No.
Next. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Sorry. So now we're going to go into the next, which is here. We can export this out. I don't even have to do anything here. I can directly, I'm going to show you from here. We went up to here in this polish, and right after that we can go directly to export this mesh out. The one that's in the green is the thing that we're going to export out, right? So I'm going to hit output, and this is a mesh, so it's either an OBJ or an STL. STL is what everybody uses, okay? And so I'm going to save this to the desktop, and this is the heart, okay? Boom. And don't ask me what that is, it's not important. Just hit OK. Alright, so we're going to go here to the, we're just going to go, I'm going to create a new design here in Fusion. Okay. I highly recommend you take some of my classes here so that you know how to manipulate meshes and stuff like that. I'm going to just go to, this is a brand new design. Insert mesh, heart, I'm going to open up. So this is another piece of software. We've scanned this, created an STL that's universal. It can be brought into anything, and I now have this heart, right? And from here, I mean, it's a mesh. I can't really do a lot with a mesh. You know, you can't really edit it. I mean, about the only thing that I could probably do to this, I mean, there are some things I can do. I can smooth it out. I can reorient it on here, and then I can re-export it out and 3D print it. Okay, I mean, I can apply an appearance to it if I wanted to. Okay, I can make it look gold or something like that. All right.
What's the object file before it comes into 3D Fusion? Do you have to go through Fusion to print it? Or is it like?
Okay, I don't understand the question.
So can you go directly from the engine to the printer, or do you have to go through the 3D Fusion?
And I'm changing my class up, and I'm just telling people, yeah, we could go in here and orient it and realign it, but it's a big waste of time. Okay, it's horribly confusing, and I've decided to cut that out and not waste your time with it. Cool. That we go directly, we export it out, we bring it into Fusion, and I look at it here. This is like, I'm going to turn my grid on. Okay, there's my grid, and I don't want it to print like that, do I? I would like it to print maybe like this. I want it to print on its side. Well, I can now see, you know, I can bring this up like here, and I can rotate it on its side. This is how, you know, this would be, I'm looking at a side view, you know, profile view. There's a green line. I hit OK, and then the bed of my table, there's the bed. So it would print like this. So it's so much easier to do it in Fusion than to do it in that software. So I've cut it out. It wastes 10-15 minutes of the class time when this is so obviously easy. Okay. Now, but I will show this to you, because a mesh, you pretty much can't do much. I mean, you could do a few things. You can maybe slice it. But if, say, I wanted to hollow this out, or I wanted to like put a thread in it, or I wanted to like stick a pole out of it, or I wanted to do something to modify it, You can't do it with a mesh. All right? It's just like extremely difficult. So what we have here, though, in this software is we got an upgrade as a plugin. Great technology. It's one of the best things of this piece of software is where we take a mesh that looks like that, okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to create a surface body, which is something that we can export out and then edit and do a lot of other things with. And that's this guy right here. So I'm going to just back up. It's under CAD. Forget about these two. We're going to just go right to surface, okay, and it's going to ask how many surfaces do you want to create. I don't know. I'm just going to create, I can go right in here. I'm going to create 750, and then I'm going to surface this heart. And it's going to auto surface. It's going to actually fit a whole bunch of patches, patch bodies, to cover up all those, to cover up the heart. And then we're going to export that out and bring that into Fusion. And then that's where the magic begins. Okay? I mean, up until this point with an STL, you can 3D print it, you can shrink it, you can enlarge it. I mean, you can do minor things with it. But this surface patch, this auto surfacing here, is the unicorn magic of this whole operation here. Okay? So we're just going to wait. This goes up to 5,000 patches, like if you really want to go insanely crazy. Don't overdo it. Just like with the scanner, you know, use some prudence. You don't need to set the thing to the highest possible scanning resolution when you have an object like that that doesn't have that much detail. And again, that's not an object, that would be if you use CAD. So you don't have to crank this up to 5,000 because it's going to take longer. You don't need it. But I have done things, I have just to test it. I cranked it up to 5,000. It was on a scan of a face, and I let it run. It took about an hour and a half. It didn't crash the computer, which was a good thing, okay? But at the end, it did the job, which I don't care how long it takes as long as it does the job, and it does a great job. So it's generating the mesh here. It's generating, I don't know why it says it's generating these. You just have to wait. You'll see in a minute. There we go. Okay, so it created this. Now here, you see in the E, I have two things here. I have the mesh. I'm going to expand it. Oh no, I just have the surface body in here. Okay, it didn't superimpose it. That must have been D. So right now I have in green just this surface body, and I can change the view to solid. There we go. So that looks more like what we're used to. But it's different. It looks great. Okay. So I'm going to go back, output. This time, I want to bring this into, turn it into an object that I can edit. So I can export it as an IGES or as a step. And step is pretty standard. And it's in the green. I hit step, not the STL. And I'm going to just do heart, save. Are you guys registered for the next class?
No, what's the next class?
We do the advanced scanning using the twist and turn for small objects. Yeah, so
Today?
yeah, today.
No, I didn't register.
Like if you want to register, because that's what we're going to do. It's a lot easier on the brain than this class.
Okay.
It's kind of a little bit shorter too. So if you want to register for it, I'm going to show you how to do the tilt and turn table.
Okay.
Okay, that starts at basically we can just morph right into it.
Okay.
Okay. So there it is. It saved it. Here's the difference with the mesh. I inserted it with that step file. I have to do it. I have to use this differently. So I just go to random things. This is where I put all my random stuff. Okay, things that I've scanned. And here, this is a folder, and in the Fusion, you have to upload. Okay, select the file, and I'm going to go to Heart STP. There it is. I'm going to open, and I'm going to upload it, and it's going to save in my random things folder. And I can just close this, and it'll show me the progress here. So it's different. This is a cloud-based, Fusion is cloud-based. It uploads it. If it needs to convert it into something else, that's the beautiful thing. You don't have to convert it on your computer. You upload it to the cloud, let Autodesk convert it for you. Okay? And then after it's done, see it's still uploading. I mean, there are a bunch of different file formats you can upload. It'll convert it, and then you can open it up in Fusion.
Says it's full.
Oh, you can come anyway if you want.
Okay.
Yeah.
You won't keep me up.
Is it in the same class?
Yeah, it should be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can stay. So there it is.
Unless anybody's just.
No, you can say, actually you got, sometimes people will take it and they didn't take this class. Are not gonna have a clue.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
I'm
advanced.
signed up for it.
You are? Yeah, because advanced is like, you always take advanced after beginners, but some
Yeah.
people don't realize that. They take the advanced before the beginner. I can't do anything about it. Okay, there it is. So I uploaded it, it's in my random things. So now I'm gonna just double click that and it opens it up as a new file. And it's gonna come up, there it is, okay? So here we are, oops. Should I save it? I guess I don't want to, I've got enough, I've done this enough. So there it is. This is actually a different, it looks the same, but its structure is different. And you're going to notice here in bodies, it's going to say unstitched. Remember I wanted 750 patches? Well, it said, oh, well, we need 815. So when I open this up, it gives me a list of these 815 individual, do you see these patch bodies? Okay, if I turn that one off, it actually will leave a hole in there, right? So they're not stitched together, they're all separate. So here's what we do, here's the workflow. Once you've uploaded it, you open up the file, okay, you just Windows select this whole thing. You want to go into the patch environment. These are the different modeling environments. I mean, I teach these in my Fusion class. I teach a bunch of them. I teach you how to use this. But in here, you go into the patch environment, and then we stitch it. And then, don't be OCD. Just click it and take your hands away. Don't go, you know, I have some people that they click it and they're like, okay, is it doing anything? Click, click. No, you just click it once and that's it. And then what will happen is it will stitch, and you'll see that it created, those green lines are showing where all the boundaries are, where it's going to stitch together. Green is good, okay, you know. And then I hit OK, and I take my hands away. I let it do its magic. And what it did is it took all those 815 patches, created one body. Okay, now we're in the money, right? Because now I have something that I can do a lot with it. I'm going to turn this grid off. Okay, I can do a lot with this now. I mean, I can, I'm going to just do this. I'll show you if I wanted to real quick, since you're going to be here. I'm going to copy this, copy, and paste. I've created a new one, okay? But what I want to do here with the second one, you can't do this with a mesh. You can only do this with what we're doing here. I'm going to go to the modeling environment, and I'm going to scale this, okay? This one here. And my point, I guess, let's see, can I put it somewhere here? And I'm going to scale this, I don't know, to 75%. It shrunk it by 75%, okay? Right? And then guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn the other body on, but I'm going to make it a little bit transparent, 30%. So now I can see both bodies, but one inside the other, right? And what I want to do is I want to get that smaller heart. Oh, let's see, a little inside here, right? And then I'm going to look another view. It's all inside, right? Okay, I'm going to hit OK. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a combine here. But I'm going to not do a join, I'm going to do a cut. My target body is the big one. What I'm going to cut is the smaller one. Right? I'm going to hit OK. Right? Now, oh, I think I cut through the side. That's okay. But now, it's not, what I'm seeing here is not the smaller body inside the larger one,
hollow.
it's hollow. But it's hollowed out. Did I put, yeah, I put, oh, do you see what I did here? I put a hole. That's cool. But I've hollowed it out. And what's real super cool, I can inspect this like with a sectional analysis. And I'll do this. And I'll do here. Okay. And I'll just pull across. And I can now see the inside. Do you see that? That's a sectional analysis of my new object. Cannot do that with a mesh. But what am I going to do with a hollow heart, right? I can't do anything with that. But I can do, okay, if it was sit like that, I can do this. This is no good. So I will do, I'm going to go bottom. I'm going to create a sketch. And I'm going to create it on here. And where is it? It's there. Actually, I'm going to just do this. Turn this back on. I'm going to do an offset. I'm going to pull this up to about here. Good. And hit OK. I'm going to draw right on that sketch. Okay. And I'm going to actually draw a circle right here. Oops. Something like that. Let's see. That's good. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to move you over just so. Come on. Move over just a little bit so that you're like over that thingy. There we go. Right? And then the fun part, unicorn magic. I'm going to do an extrude on that. I'm going to pull it in. I'm going to cut a hole. And hit OK. Cut a hole. And then I'm going to do another one, but this time from the top. So I'm going to draw on that sketch plane. And I'll do a little rectangle, something like this. Right? You know what I'm doing, right? Right? I'm going to do another extrude cut. I'm going to bring it down. And I have a piggy bank. And here's the beauty of it, okay? That's the body right there. I'll edit it out. I can save it. I guess I can save it. I'll save it here. Here's my body. Okay, now so I've edited, turned my scanned object into a piggy bank. I'm going to right click, save as STL. I'm going to use the highest setting to make it look good. I've got it picked. I think I do. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to save it, heart, piggy bank, save. And did it do it? Okay, it's still thinking. Still thinking. See, I in CAD,
Scan that one at 750.
and I do surface here, and I put this one. Are you saying I got 750?
Yeah, we scanned at 750.
No, I didn't scan
Well,
anything.
We add.
Patched it.
What I'm doing is I'm telling the software to take the mesh, and I want you to put, you know, the little elves in there are gonna go around and start putting patches on there. And I'm saying, hey, I'm saying to my elf team, guys, I want you to aim for 750 patches. If you go over, it's okay. If you go under, it's okay. But that's the target. So the elves went to work, and they came back and said, hey, you know, we tried to get to 750, but there was a lot of things that we couldn't do it, and we had to add a bunch more.
Okay.
No, I said, good job. You guys did a great job. You did what I wanted you to do. You can go have some cookies.
Nice.
Okay, that's why. Okay? There are no absolutes in this world.
Okay.
Except for God.
Taxes.
If you're a millionaire or a billionaire, no. Okay. Okay, 5-minute pee break, and then back in here, and then we do this. I'll show you the macros, and then we can all go get drunk.
All right.
A question.
Oh, right.
When you're done. When you're done.
It's great. Great time. Then we can have questions.
works with me. He's working today, so that's why I was texting. So he's like, "What's the shipping address?" And I'm like, "Blah, blah, blah." To make 2 shipments tonight. So that's my other job, and I try to juggle things in between other classes.
That's smart.
So
Um,
I try to budget my sleep, my time for sleep. You know, I budget my time like my money,
oh, that's true.
and because it's you only have a certain amount, and if you do something, you're taking it away from another category.
Exactly.
So I have to plan it.
I'm sure there's an app for that. You spend too much time. Get the hell out.
I know. Well, so, unfortunately, sometimes it comes out of my sleep, and then you get unhealthy. And then it's like, oh, I have to balance.
Food stuff,
Yeah. So,
That's crazy. So hopefully this dude, created this shit right here. Let me see. This
oh,
is
you
not-
love this stuff, don't you? Oh,
Yeah,
this is the
this-
receptacle.
Well, this is not the one. This is the original one that he made with the design. I don't think this is not the one where it goes.
It's like a sun.
Yeah, this is not the one. I don't think it's raised corners, is it?
I don't think so. But it has these things. So it is.
I thought they had Cane's Chicken in the distributor.
It's a cutting board, you use it for the meat. Or some,
You said that was designed.
yeah, the little grooves can collect blood.
Where you like tilt it, the metal ball goes through the nails. And
Yeah.
Exactly. What kind of wood is that?
oh, that's
Yeah. This is not the one where the corners are raised and it.
no, that was on the shot.
Oh, okay. That'd be awesome to see that one.
It is, it's deeper than, it is, it's supposed to, yeah, it's got a contour here,
Mhm.
contour here.
This is on this end is contoured this way.
Oh.
That's contoured like that.
Oh,
So it's a complex shape, and then you engrave this in and have it follow that.
okay. But this is not the one he was talking about with the new one, right?
No. Okay, let us do, I'm gonna just do this. I'm gonna shut this off.
All right, this is kind of sort of our last stop. That one. That's okay. Those are available. If you are done, thank you for coming on my tour.
Okay,
If you enjoyed it,
so-
you can exit here, or if you go back to the lobby.
They're gonna leave soon. Yeah, they're doing a tour, so they just kind of want to
And
work
if you
in
want to
here.
get back to any other area,
So
if it's
I
up
unplugged
front,
it,
on
I
this
shut
side
down
of
the
the room,
software, I
it's
brought
right
it
there.
back up,
If you wanna
and then
go
I
beyond
turned it
the
back
room,
on. I'm not gonna go through all the whole thing that we already did. You guys know how to set things up. Next, when I turn this, when I hit the green scan button, you're gonna see something different. Okay, you're not gonna want to miss this. Here it goes. So it's coming up, loading, and what it's gonna do is you're gonna see kind of a new dialog box here, where it's gonna call it the multi-drive. We just have to wait till it comes up here. And we're going to see some tabs. We're going to see 5 tabs, and each one of those tabs represents an individual. If you want to shut it, I mean, it doesn't matter. It just gets hot in here, so just leave it a little bit open. Yeah. You know, I don't even have it. I do have fans, but they don't work forever. So, are you going to work? Hmm? So there you go. This is like this persnickety thing about this one. I'm going to just end it. That'll work. You're going to see 5 tabs, and each one of those. I'm just going to wait till it says scanner is ready. Okay. There we go. Okay. There are 5 tabs here. Okay. Now, each one of these tabs is basically a macro where you can independently set pretty much, you know, where you want it to start, how many divisions, what tilt, do you want it to do a 360 or a single, and also the resolution. These are all can be independently set. The one thing you cannot set is the distance. It's always locked at macro. Okay? So I'm going to do the first one, and we're going to use something as an example. I mean, we could use this. This is not really appropriate, but oh, it has suction cuppies on it. Cool. Suction cups. Want a stick? I see. No. So this whole stand thing is probably the most appropriate for this. Since it has suction cuppy things, I'll put it on here. And the reason why that's good because excuse me. Because you're going to notice here up at the top there's turn and there's tilt. So turn you're familiar with, right? Turn is the table. Tilt on the other hand, if you watch, I'm going to move this over. Can you see okay if I do that? If I do tilt, does that. Now, there are limits to how far this can tilt. It can tilt back like this, 45 degrees right here. Okay? And then in the other direction, it's 35. So from 35 to 45, it's 80 degrees. No, it's 170 degrees. Wait, yes. 45, right, so it's 80. Okay, so that's 35 degrees. Obviously, you see when I have it tilted like this, it can't see anything, right? The table's in the way. Use a little bit of intelligence, all right? So if I'm looking at this, and I might actually want to bring this up like a little bit up to here, but still the thing that it's on is blocking it. That's okay. Just make sure this is tight. Make sure that thing is tight in there, because sometimes when this thing spins around, it will loosen and affect your scan. So here we go, back, and we can kind of scan something at a whole bunch of different angles like that. Totally different than the turntable, right? So here we go. My first scan, I'm going to set up my first scan. And I'm going to just do it like the tilt is going to be at 0, what we're all used to, right? And I'm going to set my start point to approximately 0. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to program tab A, and then I'm going to have you guys just come and just take your hands at programming it as well. This object here, though, doesn't have a lot of nooks and crannies and things, so this is overkill. But something like that, you don't even need a lot of resolution. SD on the low end is going to work fine. And if I was going to scan this, you know, even for the way I do it, I'll do 4 divisions. It'll just do a scan at 90 degrees. But what we're gonna do, okay, we're gonna just do a little bit different. I'm gonna modify it. Instead of me doing a 360 or bracket, I'm just gonna do a single scan. And then what you guys are gonna do, I'm gonna do a single scan where I'm at the start point and my tilt is 0. Okay? Then I'll have you come up here, you'll program B, and you'll do a single scan, but you'll set your tilt to like, you know, 5 degrees, or maybe let's say 10 degrees. But your start point is going to be at, I don't know, 36. So it's at tilt but at a different angle. So, and then we're each going to do that. So we're going to have this thing look at different tilts and different angles. Each one is going to do a single scan. It'll do 5 scans. Okay? Whereas if I did 360, think about it. If I did 360, 16 divisions, and programmed that into 5 tabs, that's 5 times 16. Okay? So what's that? 30, 80 minutes, 90 minutes. That's in standard definition. That's about probably a 90-minute or a 2-hour scan. If you go set this thing to high definition, especially if it's something small, it starts going to 3 hours, 5 hours if you're capturing texture. Be careful, don't overkill. So I'm going to have it like that. And now look, I have these 5 tabs. To activate, you can program these 5, but you don't have to actually use them. But to activate it, you have to click it on. Okay? Watch, you'll know that they're all off. Do you see the start button? Grayed out. Once I activate one, it turns green. Okay? So I'm going to start my scan at 0, 0. Okay? You're going to come up. You're going to make sure that you're doing single, and we're going to just bump this up at different angles, like 5 degrees, 5 degrees, 5 degrees. Okay? And then the other thing you want to make sure is that, because I don't know what it's going to be, you're going to want to activate B. You're going to make sure that the depth resolution is about here, and then just bump these up like 5 degrees each. Okay? And we're each going to take a turn at that. And basically, that's it. Okay? And then you would hit start. It'll run through those 5 tabs. Depending on how you program each one of those tabs, it'll follow those instructions. Okay? Any questions, comments, or threats?
So you say like bump out like 5, or like 5, these were 10,
Yeah.
15.
So,
Or
right. Yeah, that's good.
are there gaps in between those different tilts? Or does it matter? I mean, between the different start positions, or does it matter?
A little more tilt on that, or
Yeah, that's fine. You have. I thought it would be tilting. Oh no, that's right. Okay, I'm so sorry. That's good. Make the start at. We got 5 of us here. 5, 3. Make it 35 degrees, I guess. 30 degrees. Yeah. That's good. Good enough.
All right.
You got everything. Next, you're gonna do
Okay.
C. Right? And activate it.
activate.
You got no. The dot in the middle. There. Make it single. And your start is going to be like 60. Good. Your tilt, what did you have?
It was 5.
5? Make yours 10.
Well, I'll say-
Not negative 10. Positive 10. Good. And then the last thing that you would check is your resolution. Good. That's it where you want it to be.
Where's the resolution?
It is points per square inch.
SD standard.
Yeah, and that's what we have on the other ones. Okay. Move that. That's fine. Okay. I'm gonna have you do it. That's how simple it is.
But that's the cumulative time down below. All of it.
Yeah. So we've got 3 scans activated. It's saying 7.5 minutes already. But
Divisions 4.
no, you're gonna make sure you click single. Yeah, you know what I find when you have these like 5 tabs that you have to program, you want to keep track of like here you can put a good like a really advanced strategy in on how to scan something, where you got to keep track of it. Like I would write it down like what you want each set, because you can have a different resolution at a different settings, you can have different angles. So you want to look at your object. Use a little. Don't do what they used to do. Just click full. Crank it fully automatic. You will not get a good result. Think.
But where is the fully automatic?
There is no fully.
Oh.
Fully automatic is when you set everything to high.
Oh,
Yeah.
360 by 360 at high def.
Yeah. I mean, you just like it's like more is better. It's not the case. So you're there. Good.
Why is that not the case? I mean, other
What?
than obvious, like it takes up memory and time.
Well, there you go, right there. I mean, there's a finite amount of memory in a computer. I don't care how big your computer is. You start capturing images and things at super high res. All of a sudden, okay, maybe, yeah, yeah, maybe the file size is only, 200, 300, 400 megabytes. But guess what? When it's done scanning, it's going to have to process all of that. And it has to throw that into RAM. Or, your like page file sys or whatever, and then all of a sudden, there's smoke coming out of your computer.
You want the last one like at 120?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. And then the tilt, put the tilt up.
I just bumped it up by 5.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
And then now you can put a bounding box.
Well,
on
we
it.
haven't done anything from the other side of it. Do you want to go negative for
You can put it to put it at -5 and see what it looks like. I'm just worried that
Not the tilt, the star.
Oh,
We
okay, if you want to do it, put it at -120. Whatever. Yeah, or something. That's good. Yeah. Good enough. I mean, this is just a blob thing. Silicon blob. No offense.
That's okay. You don't want any other names that we have for it.
it's gonna make them millionaire.
Okay,
Maybe.
so put a bounding box around it. Just for prep. And don't remember, not so tight that you can't see light. Okay?
Oh, plus it's got a tilt, so we gotta test
I
all
mean,
that.
you can check it. No, you don't go up there. You click on your tabs there.
Oh.
This is not going to be an issue. It's all gonna be fine. This is not complicated. I've done that car. When I did the car, I did it on here, and I programmed each one of those tabs absolutely carefully to get the entire real estate of that car. I mean, it probably took me an hour to just get it all right. And then, when I had it all right, I could hit play, walk away, and I knew I would get something good. Yeah. Oh, well, that one says bracket. We don't want bracket, we want single. Okay, see, this is where, don't turn them off.
Sorry.
Okay, that one's fine. Those are all single. And I think we're good to go.
Do you always want to see it?
Just for
I
today.
thought it was on single earlier, but I guess not.
Yeah, I mean, we could, look, I mean, this is gonna be 5 scans.
Just 11 minutes.
I don't think it's gonna be that, but there you go, think about it if we start going further than that. Hit play.
I really do that.
And that's it. You get that? We just did a single, but you can use bracket, you can use 360, you can do 8 divisions on one, 4 divisions, 16 divisions on another. You can do a high resolution, some low resolutions on those different tabs. And it's 4 tabs, and those are macros, and it'll run through it. And then when it's done, it always does one of the things it does always calibrates the machine. It calibrates the tilt and turn so that when it's finished scanning, it can join everything together nicely. So always expect that calibration. You have to have an object on there to calibrate. So if it's empty, it won't calibrate. It needs something.
How do you do this side that's facing this pole? Or is it the laser reaches around kind of?
No, the lasers cannot do that. Not in this universe anyway.
Well, I'm saying I didn't know what angle the laser was. If it was like that, or maybe.
No, it's gonna. I mean, that pole. I mean, in one scan it'll be this way. The pole will be here. The next one will be over here.
Okay, so kind of
It's gonna get it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you'd have to spin the thing around, obviously, to be able to get the backside.
Yes.
So okay, so it's faster to do it with single as opposed to doing the 360.
Yeah, we're not doing. Okay. If this was real life, and it's not, we would probably, and this was like a really detailed, like a ring or something. Yeah. I wouldn't do 5 scans. I might do 3 at different tilts. Do 4 to 6 or 8 divisions at 360 at different tilts. And then, that's 8 times 3. That's a bunch of scans. And Do you want to sit here till 12 o'clock? No, not as right. So that's why we're truncating, we're stifling the scan so we can all go out and get drunk.
Catching a theme.
No, I wouldn't joke. I don't drink, so but I just I like to pretend I'm a bad boy, but I'm not. Right? Don't we all of us good guys? We just wish we were the bad guys. We were like one of the bad boys, but we're just good.
You don't drink Molson? Or
I drink milk and cookies. Come on.
you're Canadian.
I
you
know.
should drink a
No,
little.
actually, okay.
Are you really Canadian?
Yes.
Okay.
That's why. Yeah. Can't you tell my sense of humor? It's like Canadian sense of humor, right? Like off the wall sense of humor. You're like all the off the wall comedian, like who? Martin Short. All those guys from Saturday Night Live, they were basically the original cast. Most of them were Canadian. There's so many. Jim Carrey, you know, those guys are all Canadian, right?
Jim Carrey's Canadian.
Yeah.
And Garden.
And Carvey. They're like crazy. I mean, that's Canadian. I mean, when you live in Canada and like 8 to 10 months of the year is total darkness, you start.
Is that pretty far north though? No?
What?
Just in general, just Canada?
No, the whole country.
Are you in Vancouver? No.
I mean, everywhere. It's just like as soon as you cross the border, darkness.
It's like it's light and it's bird.
Yeah.
Across the border.
Right. Except for Buffalo, New York. There's
I think temperature drops 20 degrees as soon as you cross.
right away. And
Yeah.
see, this is the number 1 reason why I'm a huge Trump supporter and I voted for him is because he promised he was going to build a wall to prevent all that illegal Arctic air from coming down into the United States. That was a joke.
You had a long joke the other day, and we went through the history of Galileo and his discovering the
Blind.
yeah, and the lines were completely straight. We used a piece of spaghetti to wrap around it and it fit. So we called this. We made the whole thing up, and I felt like a 2-minute story. And finally, he was like,
Kidding. And that was when we discovered these Canadians.
No, I got a lot of really good, like all of my Trump jokes are about how, like, why I voted and supported him because he's gonna like ban Snap to Grid on all computer programs. And every class, fusion class, like if it's a beginner class, we're doing preferences, it's like everybody goes white when I say that. Like it's just like all blood transfer when I say this. And I'm talking about the people who hate Trump and the people who support Trump. Like the people who hate Trump, they're like, oh my God, I'm gonna kill this guy. And then the people who support Trump are like, I can't believe he admitted that, you know?
yeah,
And it's just a joke, guys.
It's like something you can't talk about.
Like literally everybody goes like, there's a blood, I can't believe
Yeah.
this guy just admitted this. Right?
I don't know if you watch South Park or not. They have an episode that Canada builds a wall.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's done?
no.
So in the first thing.
Yeah, so, look,
That's the poll.
this is not going to be exciting when it's done, okay? Let's just take a look.
How many are?
It's going to do 5. There's like an edge. That was mine, right? Just the edge. And now B's coming up. Let's see. And then at the end, I mean, you know, if you're really super bored, like, oh, this is taking so long, you can go in here and I can trim out this, get rid of that stuff. And I don't know, be careful about what you're trimming because you might trim your thing, you know, there. So I think that's the,
Yeah, I think
That's a disc.
so I'm just going to get rid of this. That's
That's
the,
the suction cup right there.
oh, yeah, those are the suction cups, okay.
Who's the problem?
There we
You're
go.
so good with paint.
I've had it. Yeah, I can do it kind of fine.
So, this is the exciting part of this whole thing. I mean, we're not going to have, but if you guys want to sit and watch this thing come together, by all means, I'm not going to do that. But any other questions at all? That's really it. And then we just let this thing run. It zips it all together. and you can go through the post-processing the way that we did before. You can surface it the way we did with the heart. And do exactly the same thing. Some infusion, I'll just show you a couple of examples. I did on the macro setting. What was this one? That was a dragon. I'm looking for small things here.
So the different V's on there, there's different versions that you
Yeah.
save with.
So this was somebody's like dragon thing that it was small and we hung it up, and then I showed them how we were able to service it and I put a hole through it. Yeah. I didn't make a piggy bank out of it because it was really small. We had, oh, here's one. It was like some little Buddha thing. This was just a tiny little, it's not really Buddha, it's some kind of Chinese dude.
Yeah.
Because Buddha does not have earlobes like that. Okay, so that was done. What else? The leaf that I showed you. A bird skull. That's cool. These are just things that I've collected. That's not. Let me do shaded mesh. Yeah. Now, what's interesting about this? Oh, there we go. There we go. There it is. And let's make him gold too. Get rid of this. Okay. I don't know why it won't go gold on me. I don't care. Alright, so there was a bird skull. What else? These are all done with a tilt and turn. Oh, there's Obi-Wan. Kind of cool. Model. It's a mesh. But that was done. That one we had a little bit more time, but that one turned out nice. What else did I do on here? Looks like it's a Falcon. People bring in a lot of Star Wars stuff. We've done faces, but not many faces. Just people, you know. We have a scanning your face. There's that bird. Oh, this one was this one. This is one of the biggest ones I ever did in my life. It was like a Gorn. You know Gorn, Star Trek? That Gorn. Okay. It's from that. Okay, here's Gorn. This guy.
Oh, this is like, okay, with that. Okay.
Right? This is like before you were born. Alright? But somebody had a mask. And it was like a third, fourth, fifth generation mask that had been copied. And when you do that, the thing starts to shrink. Okay? And so the guy brought it in, a friend of mine. He does props, and he said, "Hey, can you scan this in, and then can we like upscale it so that it's back to its original size?" So that I scanned that. That was it was a professional job. So I was really super careful to get all the little details and everything on it. So that one turned out nice, and it's big, huge. What else? Anyway, that's all of those. I mean, these are a bunch of examples. Let's see how this thing's going.
For
Oh.
something big, can you like scan at
Yes.
different angles and bring them together?
Yes. So if you're doing something big, you would put it like on a tripod, okay, and you would set it to the extended, and you would put, basically we did a car once, and it was on a tripod, and we have a wheel tripod, it has wheels, and you put a 40-inch piece of string on it, okay, because that's the max distance. And you just move the thing, and you scan patch. I mean, it's a big deal, okay? I didn't do it, it was some goofy guy who did it, okay? But he wanted to scan his car, and he spent like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, literally, I don't think he slept for like 48, 80, 96 hours. And he scanned his entire car and patched it all together. Don't ask me why. I've never have done that myself. But yeah, you can scan big and small with this.
Do you scan from the center of the object or the distance from, like if it's this big?
It doesn't really matter. You're just going. You have to be 40 inches away from your area of interest. So this one here, notice when it came together, it didn't really come together too well. And I mentioned it earlier that it is possible that we have all that background crap, and it's getting in the way. Okay, so one of the things that what I would do in something like this is not like the best thing in the world, but do you see this background stuff here? And that could be really one of the main reasons why this is not coming together. So let's see. This is part of the table, right? And that is, and I guess that is too. Yeah, those are kind of like the inside edges of it. I don't know what this is. That's probably the back. And those are the suction cups. And so that's that one. Then this one here, I'm going to get rid of that. And so I'm just speed cleaning this up. This looks like it's not part of it. And that does not look like it's part of it. And those are part of it.
That's the middle part of it.
And this, oh, there's the top. Okay. Look at I would say again, we kind of broke one of the rules. We didn't really do a test scan, but if I was to do this again, like for real, it is. If I was going to do this again for real, I'd have bumped up the resolution quite a bit. Okay.
So we're at the low SD.
Yeah, I would have really bumped it up, because
But high SD.
possibly you bump it. You do a test and you test it at each. I mean, again, you can use those macros. You can set up 5 tests, right, at different settings and see which one works best. Different resolutions, right? I mean, you can use that for more than just one thing. Clean that up.
But each macro does only one tilt.
Right. So, and you know what? Say theoretically you did 5 macros and you did not get what you wanted and you still needed, you can actually set 5 more, scan those, and it will all stitch it together because the table's calibrated. Don't bump the table, don't move the object, it'll do it. So now that I've done that, let's see, I'm just gonna go back here and I'm gonna see if this attach all. I'm gonna go to align and do a refine. And so it needs a reference point. I don't know. I don't want to spend a ton of time on this, but this is where this is some. If you ever need to, there's manual aligning in here. I'm gonna do attach. There were 2 here that had the tops. This one and that one. Okay, I'm gonna do these 2. So this one I'm gonna put attached there, and I'm gonna align these 2 up. So to align 2 things, I've got D and E, which I can kind of see some common real estate. So I just take these red dots. I'm gonna put one here, and then another red one about in the same spot on here. It doesn't have to be exact, but you know, you want to let the computer, the software, know approximately where stuff is. So I'm just going to put one like here, and then maybe one like here. Okay, and then I'm just going to click down here and attach, and see what happens. Yeah, do you see that? I mean, it did that just fine. It brought those 2 together.
That's pretty cool.
Okay, and sometimes once you just do one, no, it won't do it. Will it attach it? No, it won't do it. So I'm not going to go through each one because it's just kind of you know, it's a ridiculous thing. But you can go into the align, which is right here, and you would say detach all these, and you would have to go into each one and put those little reference points on it. You need a minimum of 3. And so if you, this one obviously, the reason why I didn't stitch together so pretty is I think the resolution was just too low. Okay, I think that's about it. I don't know. You've like, I have no more knowledge to give you.
I don't think that's true, but that's good for now.
Good enough for now?
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna do this.